Good afternoon, everyone. Brendan Doyle here from Blue Corona. It's 2 p.m. So we're going to just give a few last minute stragglers, a couple minutes to get in. So sit back, relax, and we'll get started here on how to get the Google Guaranteed badges and increase leads and sales in just another minute or so. Thanks for joining us. All right. Once again, welcome everyone to Blue Corona's webinar today on how to get the Google Guaranteed badges and increase your leads and sales. Just a couple of administrative pieces to get out of the way to help you throughout today's webinar. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, go ahead and click the little triangle next to the questions in your GoToWebinar panel and type in your questions at any time, and we'll do our best to answer all of your questions at the conclusion of today's presentation. Also available for you today, you'll notice if you click the triangle next to handouts in your GoToWebinar panel, there is a complimentary PDF for you to download that you can use to follow along here today. And it's going to be a step-by-step guide of everything we're going to walk you through in how to get the Google Guaranteed badge for your Google My Business profile. We'll also be following up via email later today or early tomorrow morning with another link to download that PDF, just in case you forget to save it or you don't get a chance to download it during today's webinar. You'll have that link, and that is yours to keep. And again, that's going to outline a step-by-step process that we're going to also talk about here today on how to get the Google Guaranteed badge for your Google My Business profile. So now that we have those out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So again, my name is Brandon Doyle. I'm the marketing manager here at Blue Corona, and I'm your host today. And I have the pleasure of being joined by Olivia Duke, our Director of Digital Marketing Services. Thanks for joining us, Olivia.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here and appreciate your time today. And before we jump in, a little bit of background about Blue Corona, who we are and what we're all about. So at Blue Corona, we were founded in 2008 as a tracking and analytics company. And over our last 13 years in business, we've transformed into a fully fledged digital marketing agency that's focused on helping our clients accomplish 3 core goals. Those goals are: number 1, we help our clients increase leads and sales. That is what any marketing partner should do for your business as well. And we do that while accomplishing number 2, which is optimizing their marketing costs. We help our customers get more for their marketing dollar. And number 3, differentiate their brands online. We want to make our clients the authority for the products and services that they sell in the markets that they operate in. We're made up of a team of over 80 full-time employees servicing nearly 400 clients, and those clients range from small home service companies to large corporations and franchises across the US. We're also a 9-time Inc. 5000 honoree, which has earned us a spot in the Inc. Hall of Fame. And we have many strategic partnerships and affiliations throughout the industry to help better serve our clients. We're a strategic partner to the Nexstar Network, a Microsoft advertising partner, as well as a Google Premier partner, which establishes us as a top 2% marketing agency in Google's partner network. Our specialty is helping home service businesses grow, local businesses just like yours, if you're joining us here today. Everyone from HVAC, plumbing, electrical, to garage door companies, flooring companies, interior and exterior home improvement, and again, as well as franchises throughout the US. And today we're here to talk to you about Google Guaranteed. Not only what is it, but what are the benefits of being a Google Guaranteed company, how you can get the new Google Guaranteed badge on your Google My Business profile, and how Google has changed lead generation through this Google Guaranteed and through a shift to simplification that Google is moving towards. And then lastly, we're going to leave you with 6 Google My Business optimization tips to help you increase your local search visibility, and end today's presentation with a live Q&A with myself and Olivia. So stick around, we'll answer your questions towards the end of the webinar. So with that, Olivia, tell us about Google Guaranteed.
Absolutely. So I wanted to start with something that I think many of us don't realize when we think about the Google Guaranteed badge, but it's actually a money-backed guarantee from Google. So if you're backed by the Google Guarantee and a customer that came through a guaranteed listing wasn't satisfied with the quality of work, Google may, in its own discretion, reimburse the customer for up to the amount paid for that service. This guarantee is subject to a lifetime limit of $2,000 in the United States. So note that the customer must contact Google for this reimbursement. Also note that Google does not really widely advertise this. So, if you haven't heard of it, it's because they aren't really putting that out there. So presumably very few customers are taking advantage of the money-backed guarantee. But it is important to consider what this guarantee means. And I think it helps explain why Google has such an expensive application process to be a part of it. So the Google Guarantee Badge is currently available for 2 different types of Google results. Most recently, Google began testing the Google Guarantee on Google My Business profiles. This experiment began in late July, and select profiles in the home service space have been eligible to upgrade. So meaning this is not available to all accounts right now. For those eligible profiles, there is a monthly fee of $50 per month to show the Google Guarantee. Google Local Service Ads, or GLSA as we often refer to it, has always had the Google Guarantee as a crux of its offering. GLSA began rolling out in 2015 and has been available nationwide since 2017. So during that time, they've added different service industries so that today it's available for most home services. With Google Local Service Ads, there is no monthly fee. However, you do pay for what Google deems as a lead. The benefits of the Google Guarantee for Google My Business are somewhat speculative right now in the industry, as it is not widely available yet. However, most experts agree that there is an expected benefit to your GMB rankings, and certainly a click-through rate benefit from the green check adding more prominence to your listing and an additional level of trust for the customer. So both of which we'd expect to translate to increased leads and revenue for your business. For Google Local Service Ads, we've seen proven benefits of entering the program. The first being the ability to show at the very top of the SERP with the local service ad listings. Another benefit is that it is a pay-per-lead platform, which means you aren't paying for clicks that don't translate into calls like you do with other paid channels. On top of that, you can dispute the charged leads that aren't actually qualified customers. So think bots, wrong numbers, customers that are out of your service area, or customers that are asking for a service that you don't provide. At Blue Corona, we dispute calls on behalf of our partners, and on average, we save them 20% of their initially charged budget every month from disputing calls. So given the pay-per-lead model and the ability to dispute, we generally see a lower cost per lead from Google Local Service Ads than other paid channels, which of course drives higher bottom line revenue and profit for those companies. So while we have a lot of data and history to back the benefits of the Google Guarantee on Google Local Service Ads, when considering the potential benefit of the Google Guarantee on Google My Business, just consider that it is $50 a month. And for most businesses, that would be justified with just one additional monthly book job. So with the expected benefits to click-through rate, we certainly think it would be, fulfilling that cost. So now that we've talked through all the benefits of the Google Guarantee, I'm going to walk you through how you'd actually go about that. And so how you would apply for the Google Guarantee on your Google My Business profile. So as I go through this process, I'm going to highlight some key considerations, but know that we also have a PDF version available to all attendees as well. So as I mentioned before, the Google Guarantee on Google My Business is only available for a select accounts during this initial test phase. If your account is eligible, this Google Guaranteed block will be showing on your homepage when you log into Google My Business. Now, before you click that box or do anything to initiate the upgrade, take a look at the Users tab and make sure that you as the primary owner, the business owner, or a key representative of your business is listed as the primary owner. Now, the reason this is important is because as the background check happens later in the process, it's going to be routed to that primary owner. So at Blue Corona, we follow best practice of being an owner to manage the account, but keeping the business owner or marketing manager as the primary owner. Now, once you click through the Google Guaranteed call to action on the homepage, it lands you on this page to upgrade your profile, stating again that it is $50 a month for eligible businesses. That then initiates the business verification steps needed in order to get the Google Guarantee. So some of you may notice that this looks very similar to the business verification portal in Google Local Service Ads, and it is pretty intuitive to follow the 4 key steps. So those steps are applying your license and insurance, undergoing a background check, and of course, submitting the payment info. I'm going to walk through each of these steps in greater detail, but know that you can complete these steps in any order. So if you have payment info on hand and are ready for that, but need to circle back to any others, you're welcome to visit these out of order. For uploading your license, the required license does vary by industry and state, but Google will prompt you to which types of license are required for your profile. You'll also need to upload your certificate of liability insurance. So for both of these items, keep in mind that they do need to be kept up with over time. If Blue Corona is managing for you, we'd be reaching out for those documents if they were to expire to keep them up to date and keep your profile alive. And when I say live, your Google My Business profile will stay live. It would be the Google Guarantee that may not show if the insurance or license were to be out of date. So the next step, adding payment info, you will be prompted to add a card or bank information. The majority of our partners opt for a credit card in most cases. And from there, you will need to set up a payments profile. One key note when setting up a payments profile, here's what the window will look like. Note that you will want to make it a business account. The benefit of making it a business account is it allows for multiple users to manage the payment profile. That's not only helpful for allowing others to edit payment information, but it also allows those others to get notified if the payment doesn't go through. So it's often how we as an agency are able to catch when a payment declines and fix it. So the most time-consuming step in the process is, of course, the background check. Google works with third-party companies like Evident to conduct these checks. So rest assured that your information is not going straight to Google, but it is going to, a verified, certified background check exclusive company. Also remember that the background check is triggered by the primary owner listed. So when logging into Evident, also use that primary owner email address in order to access your background check. For several services, it also requires background checks for your field workers. So field workers would include anyone who enters the home of a customer, not the back office employees, but anybody who's actually on site. Once in the background check process, the primary owner is going to input the field worker email addresses so that they can go in and complete their portion. Once all of this information is submitted, it's going to show as pending in the business verification portal. So that is a good way to check and see, if your information is in or you need to kind of start at the beginning. Once you have completed it, it's going to switch to passed or done once Evident or Google has had a chance to review and approve the information. So now that we've reviewed what the Google Guaranteed Badge for GMB is and the tactical steps for how to apply, Brandon is going to go into more of the data trends we've seen and why we would recommend upgrading your profile if eligible.
Thanks, Olivia. So as Olivia said, now that we've walked through, a step-by-step process on how to get the Google Guaranteed Badge on your GMB profile, let's talk about why Google Guaranteed is so important. Okay, but before we do that, we first must acknowledge how Google is changing the landscape of lead generation for local businesses. So as we can all probably imagine, in a room full of search engine giants, Google is absolutely the behemoth when it comes to search engines. And today they actually hold a 90% market share on all search. And just like all of you and just like Blue Corona, Google's goal is to increase their revenue and make money, which they're pretty darn good at since they're publicly traded, one of the largest companies in the world. And last year, in fact, Google actually raked in $147 billion in advertising revenue from its advertisers, many of which are local businesses, just like everyone on the call today. And so how have they grown that number to 147 billion? Again, it's important to understand how Google operates to keep that 90% market share and the updates that Google makes. So Google makes its money actually by leveraging its own user data. You sitting at home or in your office, you might not think of yourself as a customer of Google, but you absolutely 100% are. Same with Olivia and I. And Google makes its money by leveraging its customers' data. So when searchers use Google, all of their activity is tracked by the search engine, and it collects billions, if not trillions, of data points each and every year. And what Google's engineers then do is use this data to build tools and platforms to make your customers' experience on the search engine very simple and very easy. And these tools, in the form of Google Ads or local services ads, just to name a couple. And this simple user experience means that people or consumers or your customers keep coming back to the search engine time and time again to find the answers to their questions. And those questions are answered regardless if they're looking for statistics on like how long dogs sleep during the day versus if they're looking for a home service provider. Google's goal is to provide those answers as quickly as possible. So it builds tools like Google Ads and local services ads to bring advertisers to the table and meet their customers where they're searching online. And it creates this never-ending cycle where more consumers continue to use Google because it's very easy. It gives them what they need and want, and more advertisers come to Google and in turn, higher revenue for the company, for Google. Now, in addition to Google Ads and local services ads, Google has made a shift to this simplified experience in other forms as well. And we're going to walk you through a couple of those. So we've already mentioned Google Local Services platform that launched in 2015 and launched nationwide in 2017. And again, local services occupies the most coveted real estate on Google, the very top of the page. And that's regardless if you're searching on a laptop computer, a tablet, or even your mobile phone, but even particular on a mobile phone, you'll see that those local services ads take up the bulk of what you see on your screen. In a few years before the introduction of local services ads, you may remember that Google rolled out what they call the local pack that you see on the right-hand side of the screen here. You might know this or call this the maps listings. The local pack is the technical term, but maps listings rolled out a few years before local services ads, and these map listings also include click to call buttons. So those are several ways. You'll see the click to call buttons are also in the local services ads. Those are just a few ways that Google and Google search result pages, or SERPs, have evolved over the years to make it as easy as possible for their users to get in touch with local service companies. And this has all created and led to that today 49% of all US Google searches are currently solved directly on Google. So that means not as many people are clicking through to the websites. They're getting their answers and the information they want and need directly from Google itself on the search result page. So just think about that. You yourself, as you search, maybe you're looking up the phone number to a local pizza joint. Maybe you have to hire a contractor to remodel your kitchen, or whatever you're searching for. Chances are you may get that information directly on Google and never even visit a website. Now, that doesn't mean that your website is obsolete by any means, because in order to be found on the first page of Google, your website has to be optimized for SEO. Your local SEO has to be on point. So I don't want you to get that sense that your website is obsolete. Your website is just as powerful as ever. It's just you as a company have to adapt your search strategy and your data collection and in your optimization strategies to this changing landscape. And that's exactly what we've been able to do here at Blue Corona for our clients. So what I'm going to walk you through next is a little bit of data. Now, this is real client data that we've collected over the past 2 years, focusing on the timeline of January 2018 through December of 2020. Okay, and we're going to focus on paid search calls first. So that means pay-per-click and local services ads. And again, what we've been able to do is help our clients adapt to this changing landscape and this shift to simplification from Google through their pay-per-click ads, through their local services ads, and through Google My Business. So I'm going to unveil this blue data here. This blue data represents calls from our clients' pay-per-click search campaigns. So when I say that, that just basically means someone viewed your pay-per-click ad on the search engine, they clicked your ad and visited your website and then called you. The key point there being they actually visited your website. So their problem was not solved directly on Google. They're actually visiting your website. And we can see over the latter half of 2020, towards the end of the graph there, the impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had as more people prioritize home improvement. But the overall story that this data is telling is that, although slow and steady growth, people are clicking on almost relatively consistently, people are clicking on pay-per-click ads and calling after visiting your website. But now we layer on some more data. And in purple here, this represents the number of phone calls coming from our clients' pay-per-click call extensions. So you've probably seen call extensions out in the wild. Okay, call extensions are the little phone number in gray text next to your pay-per-click ads. And those are actually on mobile devices, click to call phone numbers, just like we saw in the maps listings, and give users the ability to call you through your pay-per-click ads, but without visiting your website. And take a look all the way at the beginning of the graph in January 2018. Those numbers were almost non-existent. And we can see the trend similar to the pay-per-click search calls in blue. We can see that growing over time. But then again, Google made a shift and rolled out local services ads. And that's what we're going to layer in next here in green. Okay, and not only have local services ads really skyrocketed and really quickly grown in popularity amongst your customers, but they really dominate a good chunk of calls on behalf of our clients. And today, 30% of all of our local services clients' phone calls coming from paid search, 30% are generated by local services ads. And of course, as Olivia mentioned, local services ads is just one way to become a Google guaranteed company. And if we were to combine the green and purple data there, the pay-per-click call extensions and local services ads, again, people contacting our clients' businesses directly from Google search results, that accounts for 54% of our clients' paid search calls. So more than half of paid search calls on behalf of our clients are coming in from Google's search result pages, while the other 46% is coming from visitors visiting the website. So I want to take a brief pause here and show you a visual representation on how important it is to actually be a Google guaranteed contractor and invest in local services ads. So I hope you guys can all see my screen. I've pulled up just a quick Google search. I'm located here in Charlotte, North Carolina, along with Olivia. And it's starting to get warm here. So what I did is I pulled up and did a Google search for AC repair near me. And you can see here, just like you're probably accustomed to seeing, you can see the local services ads dominating that top portion of the page. We also see other pay-per-click ads as we scroll down here, many of them having the call extensions that I referenced earlier here. I'm on a desktop computer, so that's why that's not click to call. But again, local services ads are dominating 30% of the phone calls on behalf of home service clients. And as a user, let's say I'm not interested in hiring one of these three companies I see. So I'm probably going to click on more HVAC pros in Charlotte. And as I do that, Google's going to bring me to the local services platform. And you can see here as I just slowly scroll down, quite frankly, how many companies are investing in local services ads and are Google guaranteed contractors. And in fact, I actually counted here this morning, there are over 50 of these Google guaranteed contractors just for this single search that I did for AC repair here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And while Charlotte, North Carolina is, a relatively big city, it's not like it's a Phoenix, it's not a Tampa, it is not a Dallas-Fort Worth area. So you can only imagine that in those more popular cities, just how many more Google guaranteed contractors there might be investing in local services ads. And so that's a pretty competitive market. And so that's just one reason why you need to be making sure that you're maximizing your online search visibility, not only through local services ads, but through pay-per-click ads as well. So next I want to walk you through similar data, but this time we're going to look at organic call volume, or call volumes coming from our clients' SEO campaigns. And again, the data in blue represents the number of calls coming from traditional organic clicks. So that means someone clicked on your search ranking, they visited your website, again, the visit being the key there, and then they picked up the phone and called their business. And similar to paid search, we can see that the organic calls have steadily grown over time, particularly on the back half of 2020 as people started to settle in and become more comfortable with home service companies entering their home and putting greater emphasis on home improvement. But one thing in particular that's super telling is as we layer on this second set of data. And that in purple there represents the number of phone calls coming from our clients' Maps listings and Google My Business profiles. So the blue means someone visited the website and called. The purple means someone did not visit the website, but still called as a result of the client's SEO campaigns. And again, that number is pretty telling. Over the past year and a half, we can really see the growth of the Maps listings and calls coming from Google My Business profiles. And today, similar to the paid search calls today, 48% of all organic calls on behalf of our clients are generated by either the Maps listings or Google My Business profiles. So almost half are generated by people who are interacting with your SEO campaigns, yet still not visiting your website. But it's all that SEO work and local SEO optimization that has really powered our clients' ability to get to that point and generate those calls from the Maps listings and Google My Business profiles. So when looking at and comparing these two graphs, you can really see that Google's shift to simplification and to provide users the information they want directly on their search results has had a dramatic impact in the way that local businesses are generating leads from the internet today. So that's where I posed the question, how are you adapting to that? And what it all boils down to is the fact that, again, you need to be maximizing your online real estate in order to increase leads and sales from internet marketing today. And I really want to emphasize that because our data has shown us that if you don't adapt and you're not investing in multiple channels, the amount of phone calls and the amount of leads and, all the way down to conversions and revenue, you're going to suffer if you're not doing that. So sticking with today's theme, we're going to show you 6 Google My Business optimization tips to help you do just that, to help you increase your local search visibility and generate more leads from the web, either through organic or visits to your website or directly on Google search results itself. So number 1, give Google your NAP. NAP, you might have heard, maybe if you're not a Blue Corona client on this call, you may have heard this term before. If you are a Blue Corona client, I'm sure you have as well. NAP stands for name, address, and phone number. And Google doesn't want you to try to game the system, so you need to provide that information to them. Okay, so on your Google My Business profile, when you're setting it up or going in and optimizing it, you want to use your actual business name. And you don't ever want it to try to game the system by using geographic modifiers or keywords. So for Blue Corona, that might look something like Blue Corona of Charlotte or Blue Corona Digital Marketing Agency, because Google's going to pick up that Blue Corona Digital Marketing Agency is not our actual company name, and that is highly frowned upon and actually prohibits Google's GMB guidelines. You also want to make sure you're entering your real business address, and you do not want to use a PO box or what we call here at Blue Corona a closet office. A closet office might be something like you've rented out a very small office space, maybe one room, no windows, no one really works in there, but it's a place, to have your address and maybe your company name on a door somewhere. That's not what you want to do. You want to use your real business address to show Google, again, who you are and where you're located, because when it comes to local search, Google wants to provide local companies that is physically located in close proximity to whoever is searching. And lastly, your phone number. We highly, highly, highly recommend implementing a tracked phone line. Contrary to popular belief, according to our data, tracked phone lines do not have a negative impact on local SEO, but they can provide benefits. And some of those benefits include providing more accurate source and medium data for future campaign optimization. What that means is that you're going to have more accurate data to say what channels are working. Is Google My Business working? Is my SEO campaign working to generate more calls for me? And be able to revise or track, test, and tweak your campaigns for future optimizations and for better performance long into the future. And it can also, more down funnel from that, lead to just more accurate lead attribution models and better ROI calculations. So again, we highly recommend implementing a tracked phone line that is 100% dedicated to your Google My Business profile. That way, just like when we looked at that purple data, this call came from, or this lead came from my GMB profile or the Maps listings. Number 2, you want to complete your profile description on Google My Business. This helps Google learn more about you as a company, including things like what you do, the products and services you sell, and the service areas that you work in. So an optimized profile description includes things like your brand's unique differentiators, as well as maybe your mission or story. And this is where you can start to include those geographic modifiers. Okay, you don't want to use those in your company name. You want to use those in the text that Google's reading on your Google My Business profile in things like your profile description. And as you're typing this out, or maybe go ahead and take a look at your current marketing provider's profile description, you want to make sure that they're building around 1 to 2, or depending on how many services you sell and offer, possibly 3 or 4, but try to pick 1 or 2 highly searched keywords. Okay, so for a plumbing company, for example, that highly searched keyword is absolutely going to be plumber. But maybe you have a drain cleaning division that does a lot of revenue for your business. That's where you could build around plumber and drain cleaning, for example. And you don't ever want to stuff this profile description with keywords. I don't know if you've heard of keyword stuffing before, but that was an old SEO tactic used in the very early 2000s, where you just basically hammered home plumber, 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 plumber. Those sentences don't really read well. Again, Google picks up on those sorts of things. Their algorithm notices those, and you could be hurt in your local search visibility because of it. And lastly, you don't ever want to include links or sales and promotions in your profile description. This is an opportunity for you to tell not only customers, but Google what your company is about and differentiate your company online from other competitors. And sales and promotions, things like offering, maybe a 25% off service call or some other type of coupon or promotion are actually prohibited by Google's GMB guidelines. And again, could negatively impact your local search visibility. So be sure to stay away from sales and promotions in your profile description. Number 3, you want to upload real images to your Google My Business profile. This is a great opportunity, or images are a great opportunity to showcase, things like your friendly and welcoming staff members or technicians, your journeymen plumbers, what have you, as well as your office environment, and even for service-based companies, the products that you sell. Okay, so we're going to walk you through what types of images you should include, as well as some of the technical specs as well for these images. So first and foremost, you definitely want to have an exterior image of your building that includes permanent signage with your company's logo, your business name, and address if you can. Now, we all know a lot of times our business address is not listed within our logo, or might not be at the front of the office. It might be more off to the side, like you see here in this example photo. But what Google's looking for is that you're a real company with a real location, and you actually operate where you say you operate from, your real business address. This is also an exterior image with permanent signage. Is in the slight chance that your Google My Business profile happens to get suspended for whatever reason, this is the #1 type of image that Google requests to re-verify your profile. So if your page was ever suspended, not only is that Google Guaranteed badge for your Google My Business profile that Olivia walked us through going to go away, your listing would actually be removed from Google. Your Google My Profile listing, your SEO rankings, everything else like that would stay, but your Google My Business profile would be temporarily removed. So make sure you have that, because again, not only is it the #1 requested image, in the event that that does occur, you're just optimizing your profile for according to Google's guidelines anyways. You also want to provide several other types of images, depending on your office situation, maybe images of your reception area or front desk area if customers were to walk in. So that's kind of that interior of your office. Management or team photos. If you have a fleet of vehicles outside, that would be, with your staff smiling, that would be where you'd want to put those images as well. And again, the products and services that you offer and sell. So for a service-based business, you might be thinking, hey, how am I going to take a picture of that? Well, if you have photos, taken throughout the years of your technicians on jobs, that's one way to do that you can upload to your GMB profile. But also, you can upload things like pictures of the Rheem hot water heaters that you offer, or the American Standard products that you offer, the Carrier Bryant products that you offer as well. And lastly, when it comes to your images, you want to make sure that you're uploading as high quality images as possible. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go get a professional photographer and pay for all the photo shoots and post edits as well. But in general, your images should be in focus and very well lit. And to the second bullet here, no excessive use of filters. You don't want to snap a picture on your iPhone, or your Android phone, which both have phenomenal photo taking capabilities these days. You don't want to take those photos and then go doctor them up in Instagram, apply 10 filters because you think they look cool and slap them up on the Google My Business. Okay, you want to represent your reality, and Google wants to see you representing that as well. And if you do have professional photos, or you do have the ability and some savviness to edit those photos, the image specs, ideally a 720 by 720 pixel resolutions. That means it's 720 pixels wide, 720 pixels tall. But what's more important is that you have a 1-to-1 ratio for that pixel resolution. What that means is that when you upload them to Google My Business and they show to potential customers, your images aren't going to be stretched, look blurry, look pixelated, and quite frankly, look not high quality. Okay, so a 1-to-1 ratio of well lit, in focus images of your permanent signage, your team, the products and services you sell are going to go a long way with improving your local search visibility. Number 4, you want to enable customers multiple ways to convert. Okay, and you can do this a couple ways through Google My Business. The first way is through what's called GMB messaging. And that is actually an online chat where customers can, through your Google My Business profile, can actually chat with your customer service reps online without ever visiting your website. So you put in all that hard work on the SEO side and the local search visibility side, your investment's paying off. But one thing that's important is that you only want to turn this on if you have a dedicated team member or CSR manager or CSR customer service rep to manage it. Okay, so you don't want those messages going into a black hole where you're never getting back to these customers, some of whom may have never worked with you before. That's going to turn them off to your company. So we do recommend turning this on to provide yet another way to convert searchers into leads, but only if you have someone in-house to manage it. And the second way to do this through Google My Business is to enable what's called an appointment link. You've probably seen this on your own GMB listing before, or maybe on other companies. And this appointment link is a place for you to drop a link, maybe a page on your website, and send searchers directly to your site's contact page or maybe your online scheduling platform. Again, that might take them to your website, but it also might take them directly to your online scheduler. But the key is to provide multiple ways to convert. You've put in the hard-earned resources, money, dollars, time into getting these people interested into your business through SEO. You want to make sure you're giving them every opportunity to contact you and turn them into a booked appointment. Number 5, coming up on a close here. Number 5, you want to make sure you're earning as many 5-star reviews as possible. And reviews are important for a variety of reasons. Reviews have an impact on how well you rank in the maps listings, as well as how well you rank in the traditional organic rankings, number 1 through 10 on Google's first page. But not only that, reviews are a ranking factor for local services as well. So that means GLSA, Google Local Services ads, are pulling in your Google My Business reviewed into their platform and using it as a ranking factor within local services ads as well. And that's why you need to ask every satisfied customer to leave you a Google review. Some of you in attendance today may or may not have a review platform that automatically does this for you. If so, that's great. If not, we highly recommend you either put a process in place, maybe one of your CSR reps, or investing in one of these reputation management softwares to help you generate more 5-star reviews, because it's going to help your local search visibility and it's going to help your local services ads. And this might be a little tip that not all business owners know about. Responding to reviews on Google My Business can actually improve your local search visibility and provide positive SEO value to Google. So when you get a positive review, it's pretty easy to respond. You want to thank the reviewer for their business, but more importantly, you want to reinforce the positives. So if someone is talking about the upfront pricing, and how well they explained the service and the products that this person was about to buy, or the equipment in that second review, you want to highlight that maybe is one of your company differentiators, that you always make sure that the customer signs off on any scope of work before you do anything, to make sure everyone is aligned and on the same page. Now, at the same time, you may get a few negative reviews. Everyone gets them. They're almost unavoidable, and when they happen, it can be kind of a downer. Okay, but turn that negative into a positive by responding to the negative review as well. That can also provide SEO value, and not only that, it shows people who are reading, future customers who are reading that 1 or 2 star review, that you're a good company and you're trying to provide good customer service. So be cordial. Don't ever get into a fight with these people, or a comment war, if you will, on Google My Business. You want to be cordial and provide a means to follow up, quote unquote, offline. And when I say offline, I mean off and out of Google My Business. So whether that's providing an email or phone number for, maybe a manager at your company, or a dedicated customer service rep who is great at handling situations like these. Okay, you want to provide that means to follow up, because Google's going to recognize that and reward you slightly for it, and other future customers are going to see that, and maybe even you can turn that 1 or 2 star review into a 4 or 5 star review, depending on how you follow up as well. And lastly, the whole point of why you're here for today's webinar, if and when the Google Guaranteed badge for your Google My Business profile, is available, we absolutely recommend signing up for it. While it's still in its infancy, as Olivia said, you may experience benefits like higher rankings and local search results, which is in turn going to result in more visits to your website, or more calls coming directly from Google, and help you grow leads, sales, and revenue. And that's important because over the years, as we've seen Google change the way they display search result pages, or roll out new tools and platforms like local services ads, over the years, those early adopters have really capitalized on that greater search visibility as being a first mover. And you want to make sure that as the Google Guaranteed becomes available to your business, you want to jump on that, much sooner than your competitors can, before they go and commoditize it. All right, folks, well, that's what we have for you here today. If you would like to learn more, if you're not a Blue Corona client and you'd like to learn more, we'd be happy to talk with you. You can visit us online at bluecorona.com/contact us. And we're offering complimentary marketing consultations. And that's kind of a 3-part series there, as part of that consultation. So if you're interested in learning how Blue Corona might be able to help you grow your business, go ahead and contact us using that bluecorona.com/contact us link. Send us a message. What that involves is a quick 30 to 60-minute phone call, where we're going to learn everything we can about your business goals and marketing needs, what's bothering you, what's working well, and just really try to get to know you and your business. And then from there, we put together a digital competitive analysis, and that's a custom analysis of your online search presence, and we compare that to 3 of your top competitors in your local markets. And then from there, a customized marketing plan backed by data-driven insights to help you measurably increase your leads and sales from the web. So go ahead online, send us a message. And if you are a Blue Corona client and you still want to learn more, go ahead and send your account manager an email, give them a call as well, and they'd be happy to answer any questions you have about local services ads, pay-per-click advertising, or Google My Business and the Google Guaranteed badges. So next, we're going to jump into our questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and click that little triangle next to the questions box. Go ahead and type it in now if you haven't, but I do see that there are a few questions already in here. So we'll go ahead and get started with some questions, Olivia. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, so Savannah wants to know, Olivia, is the badge $50 per month as well as pay-per-lead, or just the $50 per month?
Great question. So for Google My Business, it is just the $50 per month. But if you were running Google local service ads for those leads, it would be the pay-per-lead model. On Google local service ads, we didn't go into this too much, but you also have the ability to set your budget and set your bid. So you could bid up to go after more leads on Google local service ads. On Google My Business, we don't have those levers. It's just an opt-in or an opt-out. And so the opt-in would be the $50 per month.
Thanks, Olivia. Savannah also would like to know what kind of things get your account suspended. Any insights there for us?
That is a hot topic, not just at Blue Corona, but really in all of the home service industries. So, and our Google reps have acknowledged this as well, that there has been an uptick in suspensions from Google. And it's really due to them trying to prevent fraud. So certain changes to your profile, they can be, as big as changing your business name to as small as changing, your description, tweaking that. We have seen that changes to profiles can trigger a suspension. And it's just a result of Google putting, more things in place to send accounts into review automatically. So it's not anything that we have control over. And it is something that is automated on the Google end. What we can do though is we will or as soon as we get this suspension notice, we are going to apply for your account to be reviewed. And we, typically it's back up within 2 days. Our advice is this happens infrequently, but but it is an issue. In our opinion, making the changes, making the optimizations to your Google My Business profile far outweigh the downside of having an account down for a couple days, even though I know that can be devastating. But we do certain things like make changes, later in the week when call volume is lower, things like that to just minimize the risk, but keep updating and optimizing the profile.
Thanks, Olivia. This next question is from Rick. Rick wants to know if he relocates his business, is this detrimental at all in terms of how Google views or ranks his business? And actually, Olivia, if you don't mind, I can take this one. So Rick, absolutely not, but there are some asterisks that you just need to be careful of. When you really relocate your business, moving from one location to another, that could have an impact on your local SEO, like those NAP listings that you might have not only on Google My Business, but across maybe your Better Business Bureau profile, Yelp, Bing Places, and so on. So what you'll want to do, Rick, is make sure that I apologize, Rick, not sure if you're a Blue Corona client or not, but you want to make sure you work with your digital marketing provider on the timing of all of this. When are you officially in your new location versus your old location, and make sure as soon as that switch happens that your digital marketing provider is working to update all of those NAP citations that are found on the web for you, not just your Google My Business profile, although that is very important, but also your other profiles around the web on online directories. Olivia, this one's from Paul. Is there a rollout schedule for different types of businesses for the Google Guarantee Badge for Google My Business? Plumbers and air conditioners are on the program, but real estate, auto sales, portable storage yet or not?
Yes, so there is no information we have from Google, and we've been in contact with our reps. There's no planned rollout, but we can clue you into one thing we have seen is that Google has started to pull the Google Guarantee in from Google Local Service Ads to Google My Business for certain companies we've seen. And what that leads us to believe, and we actually had confirmation from our Google reps, is that they're pivoting on the test a bit. It kind of suggests that not enough people adopted into the initial phase. They're trying to collect more data. So we have seen it automatically apply for, a handful of customers for businesses. There's no control over forcing that to happen or not. It is just Google selecting their test case. And with those cases, no one is charged $50 for it. But the fact that they've shifted into that in recent weeks, for me, that signals that they are collecting more data. And based on the results of that phase of the test, we'll start to see it roll out more, or roll back if they didn't see the improvement to engagement that they expected.
Olivia, we have a couple people asking how they add the appointment link to their profile. Now, I personally know that's within the Google My Business dashboard, but any chance you know specifically where, Olivia?
I might need to pull it up on my second monitor, but it is on the information tab, I believe, has that space. And in just a moment, I can confirm.
All right, well, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to go ahead and answer Todd's question here. Todd wants to know, does pay-per lead replace the pay-per-click charges once you are enrolled, or is this in addition to PPC charges? Todd, good question. Pay-per lead through local services ads is in addition to Google ads, or what's commonly referred to as PPC. And that's why we make that distinction between pay-per-lead and PPC, which stands for pay-per-click. So they are local services ads, and Google ads are two separate things, and any investment in one platform is going to be in addition to the other.
And Brandon, I was able to confirm it is on the info tab within the Google My Business profile. Just below where you would put the link for your website is the option to put an appointment link.
Awesome, thanks, Olivia. How many Google reviews does one need to rank in maps?
So great question, and unfortunately the answer is it depends, and it depends a lot on the market that you are competing in. You know, when looking for that ballpark of how many reviews you should shoot for or what average rating you should really set a goal to achieve, I recommend searching in your own area for your service and seeing what competitors have. I've seen clients be extremely successful with 500 reviews, but in some areas there are, you know, multiple competitors with over 1,000, and so in that case, the target should be set higher in order to achieve those rankings.
Awesome. Looks like we have one final question here this afternoon, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. How does Google define a lead in local services ads to charge you?
Great question. So they have some detection on their end. They are recording the call. So I've seen cases where someone being unresponsive on the other end, or someone, or maybe an obvious bot call, that not being charged. But in general, they are charging all calls, even missed calls. So it is very important to have disputing as an aspect of your Google Local Service Ads management, because there's a lot of savings opportunity by doing so.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Olivia. That looks like it takes us to the end of today's webinar. We're all out of questions. So once again, everyone, Brandon Doyle and Olivia Duke here from Blue Corona, we want to thank you for taking an hour out of your day to join us here and learn about the Google Guaranteed Badge for Google My Business Profiles, and about Google's change to simplification and the impact that that is making on lead generation for home services. Thank you very much. We hope you all enjoyed the webinar, and don't forget to grab that PDF as a handout and a step-by-step guide to sign up for the GMB badge when it does become available to you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.